Well, welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us at this hour. And what I will ask is that everybody puts their lines on mute because there's some dog barking. I'm not quite sure whose, but
oh, it's Bandit.
Oh, okay. You can still. There she goes. There you go. Awesome. I have control too, so it's all in mind control. Anyways, our special guest today is Peggy McColl, who most of you folks know. And for those who don't, she is my sister. And she is probably one of the most amazing manifestors I've ever seen. And I am actually a witness to it because I've lived through her entire life. Wait, guess for the first year and a half I didn't, because you're older. But yes, she is by far the best manifestor I've ever been part of and known and all the rest of it. And she has an incredible program, Power Life Script, that you've incorporated. And tonight we're going to talk about manifestation, setting goals, and ultimately how to use your Power Life Script to attain your goals. And I know you've got lots and lots you can share with us. So I do have some questions. Your line's unmuted, right, Peggy?
Yes.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us. You're welcome.
I'm curious. I wonder how many people already have a Power Life Script. Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to be the case. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, sorry. I got to put my phone on
mute.
Yes.
Good idea.
It's somebody who's trying to get in on the call. So do you want to do it that we're asking questions, and we can open it up to the floor so that anytime anybody's anytime somebody wants to come in or ask a question, they're welcome to do that. So these coffee chats are very informal. They are for you. We're here as a service to you, the authors, and Peggy's graciously offered her time. So again, anytime anybody has a question, put your hand up or write it in the chat window. And
perfect.
We'll get to it. And when we see you have asked a question, we'll open up your line so that you can come in and come in and ask the question yourself. Okay, so let's get started. You're good with me asking questions, or would you like to? Okay, awesome. So Jenna actually asked earlier today, where should someone start with the Power Life Script? Because as you notice, there is some people who don't have it. So let's go back to the basics of.
Sure. Yeah, I think what's really most important to understand, even if you do have a Power Life Script, is why you would even create one. And I believe that once you understand why you would create one, it helps you create a better one. And so what I found from the study that I've been involved in for 41 years now, but I started this process back in the 90s. And I realized that in order to manifest anything, you must feel as if you have it right now. That really is the secret to everything, is feel as if you already have it right now. But that's a big challenge. It's a big challenge for people because of strong beliefs that they have, paradigms that they have, and we're not really conditioned to think that way. Most of the time as human beings, we tend to look at what's already there. We tend to look at results, and then we feel emotions that are attached to those, and it just becomes a self-fulfilling experience. And so when we want to create something different, something that we've never done before, a stretch goal perhaps, which is a goal that really is outside your comfort zones, it's a goal you have no earthly idea how you're ever going to accomplish. It's important to understand that when you set those goals, objectives, and Judy, you did that when we were on our way to Florida that time. We're driving down to Florida, and Judy said she'd like to buy a house in Florida. And I said, well, then just do it. And she's like, well, it's okay for you to say, you're this manifester and it's easy for you. And it's not that it's any easier for me than anyone else. It's just that I've disciplined myself enough by utilizing these techniques that I find have been incredibly powerful in manifesting these results. But Judy had a goal. It was a stretch goal. It was to buy a home in Florida. She didn't know how she was going to do it. But I said to her, you don't have to know how. And many of you are very familiar with Bob Proctor. I know Rachel is very familiar with Bob Proctor, being a thinking and a results consultant. And the greatest lesson that I have ever, in the 41 years of studying Bob Proctor, that I have ever learned is this: you do not have to know how. Just decide what you want. You do not have to know how you're going to get it. But there is work involved. And the work that's involved is enjoyable work. It's fun work. It is not difficult. As a matter of fact, if it's difficult for you, you're certainly not doing it right. And so I realized that in order for me to manifest with even greater ease, I had to create a process or a system, if you will, that would invite me to impress the ideas into my subconscious mind, that would go deep inside of me into my belief systems, knowing that what I desire is already there, or knowing that I deserve it, or knowing that it's done, or knowing that it was easy to do it. And whatever was required to manifest that goal, I had to build that within me, regardless of past experiences, regardless of any other thought that might come flying into my mind that says, this can't be done. You can't do this. Who do you think you are? And those are words that we heard. Judy, she's nodding her head, when we were kids, right? Who do you think you are? And it's not that our parents were bad people at all, not that at all. They just simply didn't know what they didn't know. And they were doing the best they could with what they did know. So by the time I got into the 90s, and at that point I'd been studying maybe around 15, 16 years, I realized that I really wanted to take my game up several notches, just not a notch, several notches. So I created this process of scripting my life as if I'm already living this incredible life. And at that time, I was going through a divorce. I had a desire to purchase a home, and I had zero money at that time to do it. But I knew I didn't have to know how. That's what Bob taught me. You don't have to know how. And so I would script this description that I called my Power Life script. So I wrote it out, and it included only positive words. It included affirmations. It's kind of like a big, combination of goals and affirmations all bundled into one. However, what's important is that as you, and of course I record it and then listen to it, but what's important is as you're listening to it, that you can see. You've got to see the outcome in your mind's eye. You've got to use your imagination and really see it and connect to it so that you anchor in the emotional states and you're feeling relaxed knowing that it's already done. And frankly, if not being relaxed is one of your issues, well, you can affirm that as well. Like I've been working on this Power Life script idea, have a program on it, etc. Have a book that has Mark published as well. Oh wait, you can't see it because of all my money. Hang on, I'll turn off my money just for a moment, guys, because this is, there we go. So the Power Life script book. And so this became, the process of really having clear descriptions of being able to not only see my life the way I chose for it to be, but to feel it as well. And through space-time repetition, and as Rachel knows very well, that's how we change our paradigms, listening to it over and over and over and over and over again, which goes along with this statement. If you hear something enough, you will start to believe it. You will start to believe it. And I know where a lot of people really struggle is they're like, there's no way they're going to do that, or that's just not possible, or it's too much of a gap from where they are to where they want to go. But it's absolutely possible. And I know it because I've been doing it over and over again, and I've helped many other people achieve some incredible goals as well. So that really is what the Power Life script process, where it was born, was when I was going through my own challenges in my own life. And it was at a time where I was stretching and I was feeling very emotionally challenged because I was going through a divorce and had a young son at that time. I mean, he's 27 years of age now, but I was, a toddler and didn't have the funds to go and buy the home that I wanted, but I certainly had the desire and I had the vision and I knew that it could be done. I didn't know how it could be done, but I knew it could be done. So I decided to go for it. And I went for it. And I found by utilizing this Power Life script that it's really built these strong emotional muscles within me that even if, you know, you get knocked down or knocked over or whatever, you just get right back up, almost like coming up swinging again. And it's been the greatest tool out of anything I've ever used. And I use a lot of tools. I have a vibrational alignment sheet. I have my daily discipline sheet. I mean, I'm just like an addict for these materials. I implement them every single day. I study every single day. I've got books on my desk here that I study with my study partners every single day. And I've got all this other stuff in the room that I wake up in the morning and I start doing all that study every single day. But out of everything that I've ever done or learned, the Power Life Script is the one thing that's made the biggest difference in my life. And what I love about it is, number one, that it works, but number two, how easy it is. Because once you record it, like I was listening to mine today, you just push play. Like just push play. If you're in the kitchen, you're making dinner, or you're doing your laundry, you're getting ready to go to bed, you're up in the morning, you're getting ready to go to work. You just push play, just push play. I get in my car, it's connected to my Bluetooth and it's playing as soon as I get in my car. And I listen to mine. I decided a couple of years ago, I'm going to listen to mine 7 times a day. And it's 30 minutes in length is mine. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes. I've worked with a lot of people who have much shorter Power Life scripts than others. You could use a Power Life script just for one goal that you're working on. You could identify that one goal, but you declare it as if it's here right now. You write everything around it. You create the vision so that you can be living in that experience. And it could just be one thing. I've worked with people. There was one guy that I worked with, and that's all he did was just work on his self-esteem because he didn't feel good about who he was. So he wrote out this script that really talked about how confident he was and how, you know, how he held himself and how successful he was in his career. And within a very short period of time, completely turned his life around. As a matter of fact, he 10 times his income by doing that. I've had people use it just to generate an income, that they just want to create a short script and all they're working on is to increase their income or attract a certain amount of money because they want to buy something. I've had some people use it to attract a soulmate into their life because that was the priority that they were working on at that time. I've had people use it to manifest New York Times bestsellers. And so it can be used for anything or everything. Now mine is really written for all areas of my life. So it includes everything in my life.
So I guess I should have asked the question really is, what is exactly the Power Life script though, for those who have never heard of it? I know some people on the phone have, and you kind of explained it, and I know we can buy your book too. That would help.
They can get a free copy. We have a free copy. I think it's that. I'll find the link for that and
awesome.
I'll post it, but we give away a copy of that. As a matter of fact, you know where you can get a free copy? At manifestationtoolbox.com. manifestationtoolbox.com. So Manifestation Toolbox is something that I created. You know, I mentioned earlier the vibrational alignment sheet and then the daily discipline checklist. You can get a copy of this on there too. And I can explain what those are in a minute. But essentially what a Power Life script is you think about, what would you love to have in your life? What would you love to experience? What would you love to do? Where would you want to go? Who do you want to go there with? What about the home that you live in, or the other home, or multiple homes, or the vehicles you're driving, or your health, or the way you look, the way you feel, your anything, spirituality, anything and everything that's important to you. You script out all of it. And then the way that you write it is, I'm so happy and so grateful. I always start it that way. I learned that from Bob Proctor. I'm so happy and grateful now that I live this amazing life. My life is completely fulfilled in every area. Like there's some things that I say in my Power Life script are different affirmations that I've heard from people. For example, Gay Hendricks, as you know, Judy, was a client of mine at first. He became a friend. We actually incorporated a business together. And Gay Hendricks told me the story of how when he and Katie first got married, which was many years ago now, they found it challenging at the end of the month to cover all their expenses. And so he decided, him and Katie sat down, and they decided they'd love to have an extra $1,000 at the end of the month. So they started to declare that they were happy and grateful to have this extra $1,000 at the end of every month. And so they started that really felt it. That's the important part. And within a very short period of time, they were attracting an extra $1,000 into their life at the end of every month. So they thought, wow, well, this is nice, but they'd like to have more. And they'd like to have like endless amounts of money so that they can do whatever they want to do. So this is the affirmation that they came up with. And before I say it, I do want to say I've adjusted the affirmation just slightly. But here's what Gay and Katie's affirmation is. It is, I always, or they'd say we always, or I always, because it was a couple working together. But if one of them was saying it, it was, I always have plenty of money to do whatever I want to do. I always have plenty of money to do whatever I want to do. And if you think about that for a moment, it's not enough to just utter the words and just say, I always have plenty of money to do whatever I want to do. You can just be, picking up a receipt and reading, what it says on there. It's going to have the same effect. You've got to feel it. So if you're saying I always have plenty of money to do whatever I want to do, what does that feel like, right? Like you got to say it and really feel it. And so I modified that quote slightly and I say, I always have an abundance of money to do whatever I want to do. So just a little slight modification and you can use whatever words you want. And that's one of the blessings in the Power Life script is you get to write it with words that mean something to you. There's no like right or wrong list, although I wouldn't use any negative words. I wouldn't use the word debt, or I wouldn't use a word that's actually saying, like you're having challenges or trouble or you're hurting or no more pain. Like that just gives energy to what you don't want. So you have to be very meticulous in how you write this script. But essentially what it is you're writing your goals almost as if they're here now, not almost as if they're here right now, but you also blend it in with affirmations too. So one of the things that I did was after my divorce from Charles, who was my first husband, I realized that I had a deep-rooted belief that I didn't feel I was worthy of love. And I don't know where that came from, childhood maybe, who knows, but it was there. So I realized that in order to attract a healthy, happy relationship, I had to believe I was worthy of love, like really know that I deserve love. Because if you don't think you deserve it, you might attract somebody into your life, but you'll push them away. And not intentionally, but it's a self-sabotage kind of experience. So when you're writing that Power Life script, what do you include? What do you not include? You include things that are important to you. You include things that are going to help you get to where you want to go. But you never write it as if I'm on my way or it's coming or I'm looking forward to when it's here in the future. You write it now, present day, because the most effective way of manifesting is that you script it and you imagine and you feel as if it's here right now, not some other time, right now. That's what you have to feel. So that really is what a Power Life script is.
Wow. I have to tell, actually, someone had brought the thing up. One of the things with it too is the details, the specifics. And the reason I say that is because
that's so good.
Last year I said I was getting ready for the event and somebody had said to me, what is your dream person that you see in your life? So I said, Deacon Claiborne, him from Nashville. I got Deacon. I wish I had thought to bring it in the room with me. I got Deacon Claiborne, but he's cardboard. I got him. So it is the best thing you can do is to make sure that you're very specific in what you're doing. One of the questions I've got here, which we come across all the time, is can you give some advice about the terror barrier? And what is the best way to avoid negative self-talk when that happens? Because that one's a tough one. Almost everybody goes through that at different points.
Yeah, that is so good. Negative self-talk. I think most of my self-talk prior to meeting Bob Proctor in January 1979 was negative. And so it took a long time to really overpower that voice that was just constantly, reaffirming things that were non-supportive of what I wanted. And that's what a Power Life script will do as well. So the terror barrier, is everyone familiar with what the terror barrier is? Yeah, it's like when you come, okay, so I'm seeing some no's. So a terror barrier is when and I'll tell you a story which will really help understand it even further. So when I was going through that divorce, when my son was 2 years of age, I made a decision to purchase a home. So on I call them now demand cards. I used to call them goal cards, but now I call them demand cards. So on my demand card, and see, I have my demand at the top of my card. And so on my goal card, it said, I, Peggy McColl, I'm so happy and grateful now that I own my beautiful home. And I described this home that I owned as if I have it now, or as if I had it back then. And I remember I used to go looking at houses, and Charles, my soon-to-be ex-husband at that time, would say, why do you bother? Why are you going to look at houses? Why are you going to these open houses? Why are you going to new builder showrooms? And I said, because I'm going to have a house. And he said, well, you don't have any money. I said, well, maybe not now, but I don't need it until I made the decision to buy a house. And, but I would still continue. I persisted because I knew enough of the laws of the universe and understood it enough that I knew that I did not have to know how. And remember, I said earlier that Bob Proctor, that was the lesson I taught. But the reason why I mentioned that when we're talking about terror barrier is because when you make a decision to do something, and Judy, you hit the terror barrier when you bought that house in Florida, right? I mean, we hit the terror barrier when we're up against doing something that feels very uncomfortable. And quite often it's where you're stretching yourself beyond anything that you've ever done before. So I ended up purchasing this house. I'm going to give a very short version of a longer story, but I ended up purchasing this house by having no money. And I was straight up against the terror barrier. And what's the terror barrier is these old paradigms, which are your set of belief systems that are controlling everything about you, are trying to pull you back. And I love what Bob Proctor says about that. He says, the moment you make a decision that you're going to stretch yourself, that you're going to go for this goal, your paradigms will put up what he calls a royal battle. And they'll fight you and continue to fight you because they're trying to win. That's how strong our beliefs are within us. And I believe that our beliefs can be both supportive and they can also be destructive if they're old paradigms that are not in alignment with what it is that we desire. So they're there trying to pull you back. So I made a decision to purchase a house. I sat with the realtor at the dining room table of the house that I was buying, and I wrote a check for, I think it was $2,000 or $3,000. I can't remember exactly what it was. So I wrote this check for $2,000 or $3,000, and I did not have $2,000 or $3,000 in my account. But I knew enough about myself that I knew that when I make a commitment, I'm going to follow through, and I'm going to run to the bank and do a cash advance on my Visa to cover the check. Now, I don't recommend you go buy a house with a cash advance on your Visa. This is not good financial advice. But I knew that I would figure it out. I just decided that I needed to commit myself to following through and that I will find a way. I will find a way. I had no idea how I was going to do it, no earthly idea, and I was scared as hell. I mean, I was very, very scared. I was straight up against the terror barrier. And what happens when you go up against a terror barrier, you know, a natural response is to retreat, to go back. And I don't think I ever thought about going back at all. Although once I got into the home, I really felt it in an even greater way. So what the deal was, so I purchased this home and I did this deal where I paid a deposit with the offer, which was a tiny deposit. But I had said to the realtor, I will pay the seller 10% of the purchase price in 2 months. And then 6 months down the road, I'll pay the balance. But I'm going to move into the house and pay an occupancy fee. And he was like scratching his head going, what? Like, it was like a crazy deal this realtor had never seen before. And so I said, well, it's a legitimate deal. Are you willing to take it to the seller? And he said, sure. So he took it to the seller and the seller agreed. And so in 2 months from that point, I moved into the home, which was a stretch on its own, but I figured it out. I got into the home. So now I'm living in the home and I have to come up with all the money to complete this deal. And I have no idea how I'm going to do it. And the terror barrier would show up 183 times a day. I mean, it was just like, what the hell are you doing? I mean, even as I talk about the story, I can remember that feeling. It's almost like it's bubbling up inside. And as soon as that would happen, as soon as I'd start to feel this shaky terror barrier, what in the world am I doing? I would ask myself this very powerful forward question. What would you love? What would you love? I have it engraved right here. I have it on my desk. I have it beside the bed. And so I would ask myself, what would you love? And as soon as I asked that question, I would instantly go to, I'd love to own that home. I'd love to own this home, pay for the home. On the December 1st was the close date. Okay, well, what does that feel like? Wow. And just even asking the question, shoulders would go down, you breathe deeper, you relax, like, it feels great, right? It feels relaxing. It feels wonderful. I'm so elated. All right, that's all you need to do. Stay connected to that emotion. So as I said, if I kept, feeling that terror barrier come up, holy crap, what have you done? You're going to be out in the street. You're a single mom with a 2-year-old. Like, are you crazy? And I would just have this, come, rearing up. And I hadn't told anybody, Judy, I don't even know if you knew what I was doing at that point. A lot of people thought I had paid for that home and moved in the home. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell anyone what I was doing, because you know what other people would have said? You're nuts. Like, are you crazy? But I wasn't interested in what anybody else thought. And for most of my life, I'm not really interested in what anybody else thinks. Judy can validate that one. And so I wasn't concerned of what other people thought. I was focused on my goal, and I wasn't hurting anybody by going for it. I just absolutely had to believe that it was going to happen. And so while I was going through this process of occupying this home and had a deadline that I was up against to come up with this money, I was working for a company here in Ottawa, Ontario, that decided it was going to go public and create something called an IPO, initial public offering. And it was the first company in Canada that ever sold dedicated internet access. And this is back in 1995. And this was before people could even spell www. And I worked for this company. And I started registering domain names in 1995. And so this company was going to go public, and I had saved some money to put on the house, but nowhere near as much as what I needed, a fraction of what I needed. So I did some research to find out about this IPO. The IPO was happening in October. My house deal was closing December 1st. So I thought, even if it doesn't go really well, I still have some time to figure it out. I was working in a job. It was a salary position. So I wasn't like in an unlimited, position to earn whatever I wanted. It was a salary job that I had. And so this company IPO date had been set for October. And as they got closer to that date, they realized they weren't quite ready. So they decided to move the date to November 26th. And my house deal was closing on December 1st. And so I went to the broker and I said, okay, so if I sell my shares on the 26th of November, when do I get the money? And he said, you get the money 3 or 4 days later. So my lawyer, who was closing the deal, had told me, he said, Peggy, you need to be here on the 30th of November with your check in hand, certified, so that we can close the deal on the 1st of December. I said, no problem, I'll be there. So on the 26th of November, the company went public. The stock went skyrocketing. I sold it at its peak, had the money 4 days later, and had champagne corks being popped all night long on December 1st. We had one heck of a wonderful party to celebrate that. But the whole process, you mentioned terror barrier, and it's maybe a long-winded answer to your question, but the whole process was, I didn't hit the terror barrier once or twice. I was hitting it all the time up against it. And you just got to know that's part of the process. It is part of the process. You got to get to the point where you realize, oh, that's what you are. Okay. You're not welcome here. So out you go. And whatever strategies you create, like that's when I started listening to Power Life Script. That's when I started doing a daily discipline checklist of making a list of the things that I'm going to do every single day so that I ensure that I stay in alignment with what I desired. It took a long time. I mean, it took a while to really get to the point of having that habit. Really is what it is. They're habits. Now it's a habit. I couldn't even imagine not listening to my Power Life Script every single day. I do listen to it every single day. I think it would be bizarre for me not to. I do a number of things every single day, but now they've become habits, and they've only become habits because I dedicated myself to doing them every single day. So I still come up against the terror barrier, and anyone who's stretching themselves, they'll come up against a terror barrier. But what's wonderful about it is that when you get up against it, you just recognize that it's there. So when you're talking about negative self-talk as an example, that was another one for me. Like negative self-talk was always like, oh my, like how do you shut that off? I mean, be laying in bed, you get quiet at night and start to hear, this negative self-talk. You have to shut it off, shut it off. I just conditioned myself to get into new habits, better habits, positive habits. Yeah. Is Judy talking?
Annabelle has a question for you. So Annabelle, can you unmute your audio and can you ask your question, please?
Yeah, hi Peggy.
Well, good to see your beautiful face.
Well, it's 2 a.m. in the morning here in the UK, so it's not so beautiful, I have to say.
Well, I'm impressed that you're on this call at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Well, I set my alarm for 1:50 because I wanted to be on this one.
Wow.
The question that I had was actually quite specific, but you kind of answered it because my question was specifically to do with writing a book and developing income streams from that book. And
my favorite subject.
Well, yeah. And what was your process? What came? Was it just about promoting a book first and then building income streams off the back of that? But even as I'm asking that question, half of me is thinking that actually the how isn't the issue. So if I could ask a different question.
Sure.
Now that I've really had an aha moment with the script and so on. So thank you for that. How do you know what to do first? So if you're following your life script and you're focusing on the what and on that's exactly what you want to manifest. How do you know what's on your daily discipline list, for example, that you've actually got to do to bring that about? Because obviously it's more than just the thinking about it. It's about right. Taking, acting in a certain way, as Bob Proctor would put it. Because my challenge is I tend to faff around doing lots of busy work and perhaps miss the things that would be the right things to do.
I love that. I love that. So if that's a paradigm, all that is, Annabelle, and you can change that. You can actually, that's something else. So what I would suggest is when you're doing your Power Life script, add in there that you're incredibly productive, that you get things done and you get them done like lightning speed, like declare things like that. That's one suggestion, because a lot of it is in our mind, right?
Yes.
And so, sorry, I forgot your question. I was thinking about revenue streams from books. Because when you're talking about that, do you have a copy of The Demand Principle?
No, I don't.
Okay, so this is a book that Hasmark Publishing has published. Julie's company. And this is my 18th book. It was just released a couple weeks ago. An international bestseller as well. But the reason why I mention this is, and I often tell my clients this as well, is watch what I'm doing and you'll see how we extend beyond, books into other revenue sources as well. One of the things that we put on the back cover of this book, you may or may not be able to see that, but there's 3 books on there that are all giveaways. And this is one of them, the Power Life Script, which is one of them. Another one is called Yes to the Dream, and another one's called $1 Million in a Month. And they're all books that, you can get some of them in physical form, some of them in electronic format. And we do that because how we're compensated or how we earn money is by being of service, being valuable, right? Bringing value to the world. So I'm constantly giving away free things or doing free things it's like daily. As a matter of fact, it's on my daily discipline. Give something away of value today. To just do something of value today. It's on here. So I'll see it. It's on my desk every single day. So I'll look at that. And there are different things that you can do. Do a live event online, do an interview like we're doing right here. We've created a number of books that we give away. We've done webinars. I've done a series of different things, interviews, have a podcast, that manifestation toolbox. It's all, designed to give away great value. And then when people get to know you and like you and trust you, they're more likely going to do business with you, right? So it's a relationship building experience. When I started marketing online, because I told that story working for that internet company in 1995. I've been involved in the internet space since it was born. Like when the World Wide Web really opened up, I was right there. I was there, the first company in the country to actually offer internet access. And so in the late 90s, I had my website up. In the 2000, I hired a guy to program a shopping cart, and I started marketing online. And I had a secure shopping cart, one of the only people, because you couldn't get them back then. It wasn't a common thing, and a lot of people weren't necessarily marketing online. But it became like the gold rush days very, very quickly when people started to get more comfortable with marketing online. And so you can do things like have a book be a lead generator and send people to either other books, online stuff, like Manifestation Toolbox, places where they opt in to gather information, and then they're put into a funnel. You know what a funnel is, right? Like a sales funnel. And then you establish a relationship with them, and then you make some offers, and if they love them or they're resonating with them, they'll register for your offerings. But the first thing I ever launched online, like did an official launch where I, put together a big solid marketing strategy and hit the button like go, was my very first book. And I sold out all the copies that I had in my home with a 48-hour special offer. And I self-published the book and printed 3,000 copies, hardcover edition. They were in my home. But I had actually been selling online before that because I had cassettes. That was when cassettes were popular, VHS videos. I had workbooks, guidebooks, and things like that. So I was already selling those things on my website. And so when I actually got together with a number of people to really pull together a big campaign, that's when it's like the floodgates opened. So the very first thing that I marketed online was my first book, but within a month, I created a program that I could teach online, and I launched that. It was called 8 Proven Secrets to Smart Success, and it was an 8-week course that people could access online and take from the comfort of their home. Nowadays, that's pretty common, but it was not common there. I didn't know anyone who had done that, actually. So I was in it at an early time. But there's multiple ways that you can create revenue from a book, or you could start with a program. I have a number of books that I've written, or a book that I've co-written with Brian Proctor, and we actually did a course first. So Brian and I had decided we'd write a book together, and we sat down and decided the topic is going to be about how to earn more money by working less, because both Brian and I have pretty relaxed lifestyles, and we called it Darn Easy. And so we decided, okay, we're going to write this book, and we started mapping it out and getting an outline together and talking about the things that we would include. And then it was like, okay, you go write your stuff, I'll write my stuff, we'll meet in a week. We get together a week later. What did you write? Nothing. What did you write? Nothing. Okay, neither one of us wanted to write. But what we love to do is teach. So Brian and I did a course together called Darn Easy. I launched it, I promoted it, we got the people on board, they registered for it, paid for it, and we delivered this course on the internet. And I recorded everything and transcribed everything. And then essentially we got paid to create the content for our book. But it was a great course. It was really good information. And then from there, we sold it to McGraw-Hill, and that became another published book. But there's so many different ways that you can go with that. So Annabella, I'm sorry, what was your question? I know you started talking about revenue sources.
You have answered it, because my question was about what's the order? Is it the book, chicken and egg? What comes first, the book, the course, whatever? But from what you've said, it's like there's no one size fits all cookie cutter.
Exactly.
This is what you do. So so that has actually answered the question that I had. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome, Annabelle. I think it's a great question. Like if someone asked me this question, like knowing what you know now, we're here at 2020, and I've been online since 1995, knowing what I know now, and if the desire was to earn money and earn money quickly, what would I do? It wouldn't be do a book. It would be do a course. I would do that first. And that's why we created $1 million in a month. So we can teach people how to do courses and how to launch them online. I think it's the shortest distance to get to the revenue earning is by doing a course.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome.
That's excellent. Thank you.
Anyone can do it.
Absolutely. I like this question. What would you recommend children do a Power Life script?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You know, the 2 weeks ago, I had James, my grandson, for the weekend. He came over to the cottage and he brought Janie, his little cousin. They're the same age. They're 8.5. They're almost 9. And so in my car, they're in my car. I'm listening to my Power Life script. I listen to it all the time. So James, since he came into this world, he's very familiar with Grandma and her Power Life script. But James has created little mini versions of it, and they're cute. They're on my phone. I have them as voice memos, and I keep them. And so when we were 2 weekends ago, Janie had never asked me, and that's James' cousin, had never asked me about doing a Power Life script. So we're having dinner, and Janie says, you know, Peggy, I'd really like to do one of those audios, you know, that we listen to in your car, because they're always listening to me. At first, when Janie would get in the car, she'd go, oh, James, your grandma's on the radio. Not realizing I'm listening to my phone. And so Janie understands what it is now. And she asked me, she said, I want to create one. So I said, okay, great. And I said, so why? Like, what is it you're looking to create in your life? I want to be a millionaire. I said, oh, you want to be a millionaire? Do you? Okay. So I said, do you want to learn a little bit more about that? They're like, yeah. So we finished eating. We go to the end of the table, and I always have paper and pen with me. It's just another habit. So I start to explain some things to them, and they're looking at each other. They got bored and left the room in a big hurry. So James has one. Janie, not yet. Maybe she'll get one. I don't know. She's probably not inspired enough by an idea, but I really think kids should have one. And whether it's a parent that creates one for a child that could be played in their room at night, I think that would be a beautiful idea. And I know for my son, Michelle, I mean, he was exposed to this all his life, you know, because I am such an addict for it. And so he's been listening to it all his life just from osmosis, because I used to drive him to school, and I lived at one end of the city and he was going to school on the other end of the city, and then I'd go and pick him up and drive him back. So he was listening to it all the time. So I think the more you expose your children to these materials, the better. And the sooner you do it, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's enough material like that out there. So I agree. It's a phenomenal thing. So while as we start to get towards the top of the hour, I'm just wondering whether anyone has questions. I know there's some comments here, but does anyone have any questions? I mean, I still have questions, so, because I love this. I love hearing all the ideas. Some I have heard, some I haven't. So anyone has any questions?
Giselle, how about Giselle? She has something she wants to say. Giselle says, can I testify about what the Power Life script has done for me so far? I'd love to hear that.
Let's unmute there. You're unmuted.
Okay. So yes, I just wanted to testify because was so unexpected for me. I'll be honest. I'm a scientist. I'm a skeptic by nature. So when I sent one day an email to Peggy, and I asked for help, and of course she provided the help. I got together with her, and the first thing she told me was, well, do you have a Power Life script? And I said, no. So I wrote mine. She looked at it, and I started listening to it. And in my Power Life script was that things that were completely out of my comfort zone. I said that I would be an international best-selling author. That happened last week.
Yay!
I said, well, yeah, thank you to you all. So yes, I said that I would meet my neighbor, or I would love, you know, I live on a big property here and the neighbor is far. But it happened, and thanks to you, Peggy, you have no idea why, but I'm going to say why. I ordered on Amazon your demand principle, and I got the note that it was delivered, but it wasn't in my mailbox.
Ah.
So I called the post office. I told Judy that story already. I called the post office, and they traced it back, and they said, oh, your neighbor has it. And I said, well, what do you mean my neighbor has it? She said, well, we put it in the wrong mailbox. So, but we called your neighbor, and he said he had opened the package, and he got the book, and he will give it back after he's done reading it. So I did meet my neighbor that way to go and get my book.
Get another one.
Well, I got the Kindle edition too, so yes. So that was the second thing. The third thing was in my Power Life script that my son was thriving at school because my kid has been changing schools every year for the past 3 years for different reasons. And, this year he was having a little bit of difficulty. And this trimester is bringing back a straight A report card.
Wow.
So he won't listen to his own Power Life script, but I have translated that into a vision board that's in his bedroom. And so
Perfect.
it's putting checks on what's happening. And it's honestly really amazing. So yeah, thank you for this. I mean, and the other thing was, so I said international bestseller in the Power Life script. I translated that into #1 bestseller on the vision board. And we got #1 in France last week.
Wow, that's awesome. Good
That
for
is
you.
awesome.
So yeah, it's been, it's been amazing to watch. It's just unfolding, and I can control the speed. It's amazing, So yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Giselle. That was perfect. Judy, I'm glad you're recording this because I'd love to take that little clip of what she just said there.
Yeah.
I will write that for you. I promise.
Yeah, but you will be able to take the clip though. You're right. Yeah. That is an
That's
awesome
so
story. You
great.
told us that the other day. That
Mhm.
was hilarious when we heard that.
That is so funny. I love that. What a great story. It's a phenomenal story.
Mhm. So yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing,
Yeah,
Giselle.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so I see some other comments over here. Shelley says, is there an affiliate link for the manifestation toolbox?
Yeah, I think there is, Shelley. I saw your question there too, and I was thinking about it. I believe that was probably about a month or so ago. I asked the team, Trace and Eric and Sabrina and Celine to put that in the affiliate section so that you can promote the free stuff. So I believe it is in there. And if it's not, I'll ask the guys how to make that happen. But you're an affiliate of mine, right, Shelley? And for those of you that are not an affiliate of mine, you can go to PeggyMcColl.com/affiliate. And that's how you become an affiliate.
Can't unmute your line, Shelley. There you go. There you are. You're here.
Yeah.
Hey, Shelley.
Oh, that's it. I just wondered if there was, so I'll look in the back office or I'll message them then. But
Yeah,
I was thinking
back there.
I have my people that I run through TIR that I want to give them all these tools, but some of them are paid tools too. So
Yeah, but you can earn money for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're sending out thousands and thousands every month. Trace just loves it. He just goes right into my account and starts sending money, and I get these notifications like, "Oh, Trace is at it again."
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for doing that tool. It's really cool.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks. But I believe you will be able to use it. And if not, Trace will definitely if not, Shelley, just email me and I'll get Trace to set it up so that you can.
Okay.
Thank
awesome. Excellent. And I see you mentioned, Shelley, that you have made many life scripts.
Yes. I mean, I have I don't know, I have tons of them. Usually yeah, but it's so weird because I stopped listening to them. I don't know why. And whoops, sorry, I was just almost played one. But it's just so weird. I don't know why I stopped listening or when I stopped listening to it. It's just really weird. So got to get that back in the thing because I just it definitely helps me set my day. But I think partially is that a lot of my goals have changed and a lot of the things have changed. So I definitely need to update and to revise it. So.
Yeah, that's great. I don't think we realize just really how impactful it is. Even when things happen for me, I'll set objectives and they happen for me. It's like, wow. I mean, it still amazes me, which may sound weird, but it does. And I really think it's because of the strengthening. It's a daily strengthening every single day.
Yep, true. I was thinking about a question that Shelley sort of sparked was, how often should you change it?
Oh, great question. Yes. I changed mine a couple days ago, and I don't suggest you change it just for the sake of changing it. I change it when I'll notice something. So let's say, for example, I'm studying, like I study a lot from The Power of Awareness, and I'll hear something in this book and it's like just sparks something within me. I love what I'm hearing or love what I'm reading, and I'll want to add it to my Power Life script. I'll give you an example of that. I was watching one of Joel Osteen's podcasts one time, and he was talking about how our success is absolutely guaranteed. And I thought, oh, I like that. I like that idea. My success is absolutely guaranteed. I actually have a sign here right over there that says, Peggy, your success is absolutely guaranteed. Didn't I make you one, Judy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Because
one
it's such a great statement, right? Like it really, you can emotionalize
on my
that.
window.
And so I decided to add that to my Power Life script. So not only do I say in my Power Life script that my success is absolutely guaranteed, but I also say my happy marriage with my husband Denny is absolutely guaranteed. My perfect health is absolutely guaranteed. Me earning that whatever is absolutely guaranteed, and the success. And I just talk about all these things as if they are absolutely guaranteed. So I'll change my life script when I want to do something like that, or when a particular goal comes to mind that I would love to manifest, then I'll add it or modify it. And sometimes I'll modify it for even family members. So there have been times when, Judy, you had a particular goal. I'd modify, you didn't even know this, but I modified it, my Power Life script, to include it. And because there's energy in everything. And even like I do talk about my son, I talk about my grandson, I talk about my daughter-in-law, I talk about Jennifer, my niece, who's on the call. I talk about the health of family and how everyone's thriving. So, if you just get an idea, then change it. So I don't think it has to be done any particular period of time. I mean, I've had people record it years ago and they love it and they haven't changed anything. So I'm not sure if they don't have goals or they just,
Yeah.
maybe they're just
Exactly.
using it as a paradigm builder. I don't know. And it could be, because it could certainly work for that as well. So whenever you get inspired with a new goal or you achieve a goal, maybe you don't even want to hear about that, over and over again, then you can let it go.
Exactly. But don't let go of the one where you're going to change that cardboard guy into a real flesh and blood guy for me, okay? Change that in your Power Life script.
Yeah. My sister's married to Deacon Claiborne.
Yeah.
or
In
Deacon
the
Claiborne's my
flesh.
brother-in-law.
That's it. That's it. The real Deacon Claiborne. Exactly. So, what's that,
Hang on.
Renata?
Oh, no, it's me.
Oh,
Judy,
Tim?
sorry.
You sound like Renata.
Oh, thanks.
I'm just kidding. I couldn't resist,
I know.
especially after your comment.
All right. Peggy, I don't like listening to my own voice.
Oh,
That's what I was meaning.
Yeah, I knew that. So I did 3 Power Life scripts, and it was like having a rash. I did not like listening to myself.
okay.
So
I have a solution.
I know you do. You always do. Oh, and I'm keeping my language positive, Phil.
That's very good, Tim. Phil would be very proud of you.
I'm sure.
Okay, so there's Phil. So he does that a lot. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed that, right? I would suggest you can use your lovely wife's voice for sure. That's one solution. Here's a better solution. I think it's a better solution. Not that your wife's voice is not lovely. The better solution is to get over yourself and just let that go. Just let it go. It's only a paradigm that you don't like the sound of your voice. That's all that is.
Yeah.
You could even put in there, I love the sound of my voice. When I hear my voice, it reminds me of how incredible my life is, because that's what I'm hearing. You could even modify that, and you may find you'll let that go. But I have heard that comment so many times over the years that people don't want to record it because they don't like the sound of their voice. But I get it. I didn't like mine either, but I got over it. And you know what? Just you'll fall in love with what it does for you, not what it sounds like.
As you said that, I remembered some song from the 70s. I am so beautiful to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's good, right?
so I will make it right. I'm using Phil's concept on my vocation. I will make it right, and I will have a Power Life script by Friday.
Okay, I want you to email me that it's done. And if you want, Tim, if you want me to review it, then
Absolutely.
okay, email it to me and I'll review it.
Cool.
Definitely.
Now, no, I'm not doing that for everybody on the call.
Oh, come on now. Come on, you got to do it.
I only do it for my high-end clients. We have one of them on the call right now. She knows I don't do this for everybody.
This must be my hot seat then, huh?
You are.
Thank you.
Giselle,
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Giselle said something about, could you put it in with music? Would that help it to sound?
You know what? I was doing that for a while. I'd put binaural beat music behind it just because it activates the left side of the brain, the right side of the brain. And I just found that it was another step and I just didn't feel like doing the extra work. And I don't know whether it makes a difference or not. You can, I guess. Really is up to you.
It might help you. Like if you're, if it's the sound, that might be something. I actually like that idea. So
That is a good idea.
yeah. I know Pashmina wants to grab a picture quickly because I see we're at the top of the hour too. And I'm not sure if we have any more questions, but I want to make sure we get a picture of everybody.
Peggy, can you hold your Power Life script book so we can have that too?
Yes, Sandy, clean your computer. There you go.
Okay, ready? Everyone say Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Beautiful.
Getting
Got it.
into
Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. I'm just looking to
Awesome.
see if there's any more questions before we call this a wrap today. Anybody have anything they need to? I know there's some comments here. Rachel had to leave us early, but she said thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
Can I come back but do the morning one that you do?
Absolutely. We'll have you back in a heartbeat. I have no doubt people would like to see you.
Let's do another one on multiple sources of income from a book.
Oh,
How
okay.
about that?
You got that, Pashmina? You'll find time in you guys all nod. You want to do that? Yeah, I think
right.
that's a high five.
You have a
from
book or you don't have
everybody.
a book? Excellent. How come they're all saying bullshit? No, I'm just kidding.
I was writing. They, what? Excellent.
Hey, Peggy, that's sign language for I love you.
I know. I'm just teasing you, Tim.
Anyways, it looks like unless there's any questions, I think that's a wrap. I think today's call has been incredibly informative. I think the energy has been wonderful. I think you've given us a lot to think about. And I do have a connection, so one or two people might need you to look at their Power Life script.
Oh, no.
I
I'm
do
doing
have
Tim's.
it in here. I'll see if I can bribe her with nothing. So, well, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a guest. Thank you for staying up late.
Pleasure.
Thank
This
you.
is a lot of fun.
Yeah, great group of people. We're very blessed to do what we do. So
Yeah.
thank you again for being here with us. We appreciate you taking the time.
It's awesome. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Unmute your line, everybody. You're welcome to come on.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Peggy.
Have a good night.
Good
Okay.
night.
Judy, thank
Thanks.
you. Christina, thank you.
Okay,
You're
you're welcome.
welcome.
Good night, everyone.